Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. Just Jim here, the father of this show. Zach is off working right now when I happen to have the day off and I'm doing some content for you. If you enjoy what I bring to you today, I ask that you go ahead and click that like button down below. Take a look at the other things we have on our channel, and if it looks appealing to you, we would hope you would subscribe. And for this episode, if you have any comments, that's what the comment box is for. Go ahead and leave your thoughts. I will be sure to reply, and we appreciate anything you may have to say. Down in the show notes, find all the other ways you can interact with Zach and I, including our Discord server. There's an invitation there. Come hang out with us and our friends. Last year, about this time, I did an episode covering all the books I read in 2022, and then gave a few of them what I called Fantasy for the Ages awards. Well, this year I've already done a much better job creating content on all the things that I've read, even though it's 150 books. So there's no need to review them all again in one major episode. But the awards were fun. So I'm here today in this quick take just to do the awards. Let's go. In alphabetical order by award, first up, I'm here to present the Almost a Jim Cry Award. And it goes to 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Congratulations. A moving, touching story that hits the heartstrings just enough that my eyeballs got damp. I don't cry. The Behemoth Award, which is granted annually now since second year in a row, I can say annually, to the single longest book that I've read in a year, I proudly present to We Break Immortals by Thomas Howard Riley, clocking in at 1,054 pages. It's a big chunk of a book. I almost didn't make it through it, but in the end came to appreciate it quite a bit. The Best Fantasy Loner Award, presented to a book that is a standalone fantasy novel, not tied into any other trilogy or series. This one goes to The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. This was one of his secret novels that came out during 2023, the year of Sanderson. But this was the one of those 4 books that was not part of the Cosmere. It's just a fun sci-fi fantasy romp that I thoroughly enjoyed. The Best Sci-Fi Loner Award, you can figure out what that means therefore, goes to 1037 by Jacqueline Druga. I did a book blast on this one not very long ago, an apocalyptic tale that just focuses on the initial moments and the next couple of days when a massive apocalypse occurs. And it was interesting, a very unique take on things. So, congrats. Now we get to the Don't Really Need This award. This is the kind of thing we don't do as much of on our channel, where I thought of what was the book I read this year that I least valued reading. Like finishing up, kind of thinking, I really didn't need this book. Can I have that time back? And this goes to Why Odin Drinks by Bjorn Larson. This is not to say that many of you might not thoroughly enjoy Why Odin Drinks. It's a mythologically based fantasy tale heavy in satire and humor that just didn't work for me. But I'm sure some of you would. So don't shoot it down because of me. Just know it wasn't my thing. And of all the few things that I read that weren't my thing, because I read a lot of things that were my thing, this was the most not my thing in 2023. Now we get to the highest rated on Goodreads award. So we're talking about all those people who give a star or stars to the books they read on Goodreads. Which one did I read this year that had the highest rating? There's an honorable mention here. I want to give the shout out to Jake the Dragon Talker. New fantasy novel this year, first ever by Eric Hahn. A perfect 5.0 star rating. Problem was, that was based at the time on only 3 ratings. Can't really give the award to it yet. Now, I went back and looked today. There's 6 ratings now, and it's still a perfect 5.0, but that's still out of just 6 people rating it. So, congrats, you get a shout out, you don't get the trophy. Instead, it goes to Hiraeth, Zombie Fallout Book 16 by Mark Tufo with a 4.69. This was the 16th book in the Zombie Fallout series, and I've got another episode elsewhere talking about Zombie Fallout, actually many places. But this particular book was the end of the primary story arc. Now there's up through 21 books as he's found another way to continue telling stories in the Zombie Fallout world. But this was a culmination book. It delivered, and it's got a great score. Now we come to the Mosh Pit Award. This goes to the book with the most reviews on Goodreads. It's not speaking to how positive or negative they were, but people were passionate enough to write reviews. And of all the books I read this year, the award goes to The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. 52,863 reviews. One of those is mine. It also was just shy of 1 million ratings, giving it a cumulative star rating of 4.52. So people do feel pretty positive about this book. Now we come to the Really Wished I'd Liked It Better award. So this goes to something that I read and I enjoyed, but I really wanted to enjoy it more. I had hopes that were much higher that weren't quite met. And the book that takes this award home is actually a series, the 8-book series called A Shrouded World, a collaborative writing event by Mark Tufo and John O'Brien. I have content elsewhere on the channel about it. There's nothing wrong with this series. I just thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. Really wished it was. It earned the trophy. The shortest worthy read of the year award goes to The Night of the Moon by Gregory Contaxis, a novella and follow-up on his initial novel of The Return of the Knights. This novella is just 104 pages. Honestly, I thought it was longer than that when I read it. I really enjoyed this story. It moves along pretty quick, and I guess that's why, just 104 pages. There was actually a book I read this year that was shorter, and that was the Book of Riley 1 by Mark Tufo at only 86 pages. But it's really not a complete story. It flows right into the Book of Riley 2, the Book of Riley 3, and the Book of Riley 4. And then there's the Book of Riley 5, which kind of is an extension, an extra story after it really sort of ended at 4. But really, you got to consider Book of Riley 1, 2, 3, 4 is one book, even though they're published in small chunks. So I can't give you the award. Sorry, Mark. My Solicitous Author Award goes to the author that I had the most interaction with over the course of this year, someone who was happy to reach out, speak to a fan, comment on what I was putting out there on Twitter, and in this case, even came on to be my first author interview. The award goes to John Palladino, the author of the Tragedy of Sedaine series, where right now we've got the Trials of Ashmount and Buzzard's Bowl, both of which I read here in 2023. Congratulations, John. The Superb Landing Award goes to the book that I read this year that is the best resolution, conclusion, ultimate finish to either a single book, and it just nails its ending, or a series of books, and it brings it all home magnificently. And in this case, I'm giving this award to All the Wares of Pern by Anne McCaffrey. Book 15, 14, 13. I forget exactly which book it is in the order. I didn't look that up ahead of time, but it's in the 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. Might be book 12. I'll throw it in the editing. It is not the end of the Pern books, but it does basically finish the primary arc of what she was building up to all the way through the books to that point. And when you read it, you'll understand that's a big finish. And oh, it's so good. It makes you happy. It also gets you in the feels. And it's just a delightful end to a whole bunch of the story up to that point. So, congrats. That's a great one. All the Wares of Pern. If you have not read the Dragon Riders of Pern series, of which this is a part, I strongly and highly recommend it. My final award of the year is the What Were You Thinking Award, which can go to a lot of different aspects, but basically, some author who's put something out there where clearly he or she has made some decisions on the way the book was done that have me scratching my head a little bit. As in, what were you thinking? And this one this year goes to Brent Weeks for Night Angel Nemesis. Now, this was the start of a new series and a follow up of the original Night Angel trilogy, which is fantastic. I love those books. Night Angel Nemesis, way too long. This is a bloated whale of a novel. The story is not bad, but it is encumbered by way too many words. This should have been edited better. This should have been tightened up. It was hard to get through. The ending of the story finally moved along enough and gave me enough satisfaction that I'll consider reading the next book when it comes along. But the size overall disappointed me. It was harder to read than it should have been. I was really excited for this book, so that was a shock. Thus, way too long. Brent, what were you thinking? Have an award. All right, there we go. That's my 2023 book awards. I hope you enjoyed. If you have comments on any of these, let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.